Hi everyone, welcome to the first video for how to write an American or Western style cover letter. This section is going to be a bit shorter than how to write a resume because cover letters are a little bit more free form and a little bit simpler in concept, and there aren't as many tricks to writing them as there are to writing resumes, which may be less familiar. So first of all, what is a cover letter? A cover letter, the purpose of it is to help expand on and put in context the information in your resume. So for instance, if the job requires that you indicate that you have some kind of passion for a particular subject, you can't put in your resume passion for subject, right? But in your cover letter, you can introduce yourself and point out how you're passionate about customer service and how maybe in your daily life you implement the kinds of skills that a good customer service representative might have. You can't put that kind of stuff in your resume. The cover letter also helps to tie together various elements of your experience and simply prove to the employer that you are qualified for the job that you're applying for. So how do you write a cover letter? Well, it's very similar to writing an essay. If you've ever had any experience writing essays, and if you haven't, don't worry, I'll explain it a little bit. You need an introduction, a thesis statement, and then support for your thesis statement, and then a conclusion. So the thing you may not be familiar with is thesis statement. What is a thesis statement? The thesis statement is just a one-sentence statement of what you're going to talk about in the document. So in the case of a cover letter, you might say your thesis statement might be, I have the education, the professional experience, and the passion that are appropriate for this job or that will allow me to begin making material contributions to the company on day one. And then each paragraph after that talks about each element of the thesis statement. So one paragraph talks about education. You might talk about particular classes or projects that you've done. The next paragraph talks about professional experience. That's where you highlight elements of your resume. Don't repeat, just highlight, or talk about other things that may not have fit on the resume or that are a little softer or squishier. And then finally, your last paragraph might just be some indication of what you're passionate about. So if the job is community management for a mobile game, you might talk about how you're a community manager for a K-pop enthusiast website or something like that that may not make sense to go on a resume, but you could still mention in a cover letter. When you're writing, the one thing to keep in mind that's similar to a resume is be sure to show, don't tell. So for instance, one really good example of this is when you tell someone, I have good attention to detail. Okay, maybe I believe you, maybe I don't. But for instance, if you have a very well formatted resume or a cover letter that clearly answers or clearly responds to all of the elements in a job posting, that shows that you have a good attention to detail. So instead of telling someone that you have a lot of experience working in teams, show them that you do by discussing all of the times that you worked in teams. Now that might be a little bit confusing, but the difference is instead of just making a statement, sort of let the statement be hidden, but then give examples that someone can infer from these examples what it is you're trying to say. Okay, I know that was a little bit complicated, but in the next couple of videos, we're going to have some practice exercises that so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, see you there.